Hey guys, welcome back. It is time to check in on Liquid Marketplace. It's been a little while since we've done so you know what, let's see how the community is doing. They apparently sold their first item. Let's see how that went. And LMP Ryan did an interview with someone who apparently didn't ask him hard questions, so we're going to listen into that at the end of this video, see how it went in comparison to the interview that he did with me. That he almost laughed or he threatened to leave because I did ask him hard questions and did bring up some stuff that was very relevant. So if you missed that or any of the previous Liquid Marketplace, I guess videos and warnings that I put out, please check those out down below. Whether you do that before or after you tune into this video, completely up to you. But they're all down there. Just know sometimes. Guys, I can't predict the future, but sometimes I have a hunch about stuff and it ends up being right. So that being said, all of those videos, all of this video, this is my opinion. I'm not a crypto 69 expert. So if you need financial advice with this stuff, please ask somebody that is. This is like one of those things where somebody will tell you to buy Pokemon cards, but don't buy Pokemon cards because it's not financial advice, except this is actually not financial advice. I'm just saying that this looks fishy to me. It looks bad, and it's going down. It is absolutely going down. So we're on the Liquid Marketplace website. Here we go. We got the previous stuff that I brought up to Liquid Marketplace Ryan in that call that I did with him. He doesn't want to talk to me anymore. I guess rightfully so. He shouldn't have talked to me in the beginning to begin with, because he should have known that I'm going to ask him hard questions. I'm going to ask him about the previous Logan Paul endeavors, like Dinkdoik. That looks a whole lot to me like a rug pull. You got a very expensive to worth nothing all at once. Sloopity doop, all gone. And then we have Crypto Zoo, which is kind of the same thing. We got a little bit of a trend here. And I know this was before the market kind of went to junk. That's their new excuse now, is the fact that everything goes to junk. So the 99 originals, and we'll take a look at that a little bit later on too. Some chatter going on in that Discord, in that community. At first I was like, okay, whatever. If you want to sell NFTs, if people want to buy them, sure. If you want to take 99 pictures and auction them off, by all means, go to town. But it's kind of tied into all the other stuff as well. So if we look at this originals DAO, apparently by buying the Polaroid or the picture of the Polaroid, but you also get the Polaroid itself, you're also investing into a bunch of stuff, which is probably all Logan related. So we have a portion here. We have 1% of the PSA 10 Pikachu Illustrator. So indirectly, this is kind of leading into the other stuff. So Prime owned by Logan. I don't know if anyone wants to let me know down below or reach out, send me a DM. I would assume that the 5 pictures here, all stuff that Logan has owned. Some of these NFTs, I'm pretty sure, or some of them that he's pumped, that he's promoted. I don't know if these are actual ones that he owns or owned at one point in time, or that friends of his own, but I would imagine that they probably are. And so yeah, you own the Polaroid that gives you part of, I guess now you're part of this investing group that decides that they're going to invest in the other stuff, one including Liquid Marketplace. So now it's kind of tied in. And I don't know, it's just a whole lot of stuff tying into other stuff that doesn't necessarily need to tie into other stuff. We have the PSA 8, it says now trading, but I guess it's not trading because they sold it. But we're gonna take a look at that. We got some interesting stuff going on here. You can see, we just see if it goes up or down. We don't see the actual end value. We don't need to look through all of that. It's pretty much all down. From the 10 cents, this 10 cent starting price, from where it was. But yeah, most importantly, we got the PSA 10 Illustrator. We got so we're also on Liquid Marketplace. It's like a back and forth circle jerk of moving stuff back and forth, I guess, and partial owning, trading, NFT, slapdogging 69. I guess you can have the 99 originals that are, as a community, investing in Liquid Marketplace, and Liquid Marketplace selling one of those 99 originals. Okay. All right, now let's get into the PSA 8. So this is the most important and most interesting part, I guess, right now, because the market value lower than what it actually sold for. Anyway, lower than what it actually sold for. You guys know, as we discussed, and as I think Liquid Marketplace Ryan mentioned to me, Karn is the original owner of the PSA 8 Illustrator, and owned the majority of it on Liquid Marketplace. Surprise, surprise, I know. And apparently it was him that pushed to sell it. I would imagine people were desperate at this point and agreed to sell regardless, or would have wanted to sell. Sometimes the Liquid boys, they say that you need 80% ownership in order to make these decisions. But remember, they said themselves that they can bend those rules, or they can change those rules seemingly whenever they feel like it. So the rule doesn't matter. It might as well not even be there. They just kind of do whatever they want to do. So we get into Karn's response. So keep in mind, everyone who invested in this lost a lot of money. It sold at 3 cents. So anyone who purchased not only tied up their money, but lost 70%. And it was probably actually more than that, since there are transaction fees, which I believe are 8%. So the card sold on Liquid for essentially 1.1 million, and Golden sold it for $400,000. That's a little bit of an oopsie doopsie. Maybe shows a little bit of a flaw in terms of maybe you shouldn't invest in something that's a fractional share, because you can't make a decision on it. If it was something that you owned personally and it was dropping in value and you wanted to sell it and you could make that decision on your own, you could go ahead and do so. When you have to wait for other people to decide to do it with you, maybe it doesn't happen, and all of a sudden something that was way too much money to begin with and didn't really have anywhere to go up from there ends up being worth a fraction of that. Maybe somebody could have told you that we were in a little bit of an oopsie doopsie, we're gonna retrace definitely time. So now here in his messages, he's going to tell everyone that he missed out on selling this at what would have been a high, that he could have made more money. Basically telling people who lost their asses that he could have made more money by just selling it. I mean, I don't, seems pretty tone deaf to me, but also at the same time, like, what? How did you predict that it was going to be at a high? And was it even worth the 1.1 million? I know a lot of this stuff, a lot of these like made up numbers on these Illustrator cards and everything else, just like the Logan World Record Illustrator, nowhere does it say that it was actually a partial trade or anything like that. It just says the highest dollar value that they can possibly think up, so that you could inflate the number on the traded items to make it seem like it's the most expensive card that ever existed, just like a lot of the other items on there. When everything's already at a high, and then you also inflate that number and try to pump it up to be a little bit more than what it actually is, that's what you get. And then at the end here, we'll take a look at that. So let's read through Karn's messages here. This is on the Liquid Marketplace. Hey guys, just catching up here. I'll answer a few questions to the best of my ability. The Illustrator, unfortunately, I lost out on expected value as well. So he lost out on expected value. He didn't lose out on money. He made a profit on it from what he purchased it for. Keep that in mind. Everyone else that invested in this Liquid Marketplace platform lost money. He did not. He lost expected value. I had the opportunity to sell this card privately for much higher than my net, 800K, a couple of months prior to platform launch. So you probably should have. Maybe you got a little bit greedy, and you were promised like, oh, we can just put it on this platform for 1.1. It doesn't say exactly how much he lost, how much he missed out on, but not great. Although it's not losing on it, it's still stings leaving that much value on the table. Just wanted to share that. That being said, it was definitely a tough sale. Curious to see what the CGC 9.5 does. The golden fees are the buyer's premium, so the token return value is $400,000. Also, there was a comment here about Liquid making $788,000 minus fees. That's not true. Liquid doesn't own the card. They've only made the fees. So this is this weird thing where they want to let on that like Liquid doesn't own the cards, but then like Karn and everyone else that has sold items, I think every item that's on there, as far as I can tell, every item that I know who is the original owner of the item seems to have some sort of form of position on Liquid Marketplace. So it's like you're saying the business doesn't own it, but all the people that are part of the business own the items. So like is it any different? It's kind of the same. It's kind of skirting the truth, I think, in my opinion. Anyway, number 3, the Jalen Hurts will do well. It was just posted yesterday. There's a boatload of watchers. Plus on eBay, the fees will likely be only 10%. Well, there might be a little bit more than that. Again, if they're selling through that consignment business that they're talking about, the one with less than 1,000 feedback. I don't know if they hit 1,000 feedback. I'll have to go back and check that. But your fees are going to be a little bit more than 10%. Clearly doesn't know how eBay works. Clearly, it wasn't. How is this not like a set in stone detail? You should know how much the eBay fees are, and the shipping fee. Or the shipping fee can be on top of that, and then it's not included in the purchase price. Tag grading. I'm an investor in the company. It's mind-blowing tech. Taggrading.com is how you order a grading package. They send you a submission kit. So what? So now he's plugging tag grading, which he's invested in. I don't know how this is even part of the. Maybe this was also asked. Maybe it wasn't clear that he was promoting it. They send you a submission kit with all the supplies needed with return shipping included. I won't plug it here more than once, but if you have questions, you can message me. Okay. Sorry you guys lost all that money. I didn't make as much as I could have had I predicted the future. I don't know how far off he was, since he, like, some of the tokens that he sold, like he still had majority ownership, but how much did he make? He never really specifies that. What? I don't get it. So the only person that didn't lose money is the person that had the item to begin with, and they're upset that they didn't make as much money as they could have had they just taken an offer instead of putting it on Liquid Marketplace. Hogan 1319 JR says, so out of curiosity, what happened with that Pikachu Illustrator auction? So with the Pikachu Illustrator auction being over, how does that affect the tokens that we bought? So Avic here, who was supposed to be on that original call with Ryan and myself, but apparently Ryan said that he couldn't be on the call with me. I was going to have a call with the three of us, and then they canceled and changed, and they changed the rules like a million times. It seems to be the thing that happens when someone gets a little nervous that I'm going to ask some hard questions, that I'm going to ask the questions that need to be answered. Apparently they knew that was going to happen, and then they still agreed to talk to me regardless after, changing the rules or changing the platform and how it was done multiple times. You guys know I don't have any desire to or any need to cut up any content in order to make people look bad. I'm going to ask them hard questions. They have the option to answer it or not. If they don't, or if they answer it poorly, that's on them. You'll be paid out in USD to your platform wallet based on how many tokens you owned in each item that goes to auction. Shouldn't you be paid out? Wouldn't you be paid out in crypto? Isn't that the point? Otherwise, Kenny Powers, still yet to be proven. If I'm not mistaken, what date will Leclerc be paid out? It's been an extensive wait for those involved. I'm surprised no one is asking about it. And what date will the others be paid out? I'd love to know the dates, and not soon or X amount of business days plus a few weeks. So this is all stuff that should be very outlined, very highlighted. If you're selling on a platform, whether it's an auction platform, whether it's on eBay, it tells you exactly when you're going to get paid out on it. So you should be able to give a very, very accurate estimate for when everyone will receive their money, or when that money will be sent out. If it takes a while for that transaction to take place, sure, but at least you can give them an idea of when the transactions are going to be sent out. That's it. It's just like really, really wild to me that like it's not a real business. I don't want to say that. It seems like it is. I'm sure it is a very real business. I bought some but haven't been following. Quick breakdown, please. Timelines are forbidden request. I think this one's continue. Timelines are forbidden request in this platform. It's BS. I'll start worrying about the Pika funds if I don't see them in 2023. It's getting ridiculous. Are you going to wait till the end of 2023 to be paid out on an auction that already happened? I mean, like as soon as it clears, if they're selling it on Golden should be able to let them know when it's paid for and have a time frame of when they're going to receive their funds. There's no reason. I'm worried already. The only thing with that is I don't know what the legality on any of it is, but in terms of if they're holding the funds and then they declare bankruptcy, I'm pretty sure I brought this up, not just with Liquid, but with another one of those like really sketchy businesses that had fractional shares. It's just like, what happens if the business doesn't pay you, but then they go bankrupt or something? Then do you just not get your money? Do you have to fight to get your money? Do you get paid out on part of whatever's left over? This is why it's not super transparent is beyond me. It should be very easy, especially because it's not like they're selling a million things. If you've only sold a few things at auction, it should be clear as day. And this is all like not figured out. And at the same time, now they're going to take consignments from people, but they still haven't sorted out the details to be able to just give somebody an estimate on how long it's going to take for them to get paid. Oh my God. After we've seen numerous complaints. I think I've shown them in previous videos of people not being able to withdraw their funds, that they, had to fight with support and whatever in order to verify their identity and to get payment out. And then they did that and they still weren't receiving their payment. It seems like a whole lot of headache just to lose a lot of money. I don't know about you guys. I feel bad for anyone that partook in any of this. Not just that the fact that the market went down, but just in general, I think that the odds of you coming out ahead on any of this stuff was absolutely slim to none. In my opinion, guys. In my opinion. This is my opinion. It's easy to say now, we got hindsight, but I've been saying it all along. I think this is going to be a disaster. To me, at this point, it looks like it's a disaster. The consignment to sell via their eBay account seems the way they want to start pushing, which has absolutely no bearing on us as users. I could see it morphing into a cheaper collectible sales site, easier and cheaper to run, stack some fees, makes sense business-wise. Too many promos that just have gone silent to ignore. I made my call to take my L today and market sell everything. Wait for Pika funds to hopefully come through one day and withdraw in one go. It's also untrue that they are ERC20 tokens with everything recorded on the blockchain. So I'm not totally sure about this, Kenny. If you'd like to reach out and tell me what's going on with this, explain that, or show what's going on there, love to hear it. So Avic here says it's like a constant damage control, but not a very good job at it. We're still waiting for the funds from Golden. I understand that it feels like it has been a long time, but that's unfortunately the process that we all have to wait for. So you would think of a company like this, where you're dealing with all these high-end items, that you wouldn't even have to wait for the funds from Golden. But even if you wanted to run it that way, you should know when the funds are coming from Golden, approximately. It's not like the funds are just sitting around waiting for us to give them out. They might as well be if you can't tell anyone when you're getting them or what's going on. Wish I was a little more critical thinking at the beginning, honestly. Was just very excited as I had been waiting on a good fractional ownership project for a while. I don't think that there's ever going to be a good fractional ownership project. I just think whether it's fractional shares, whether it's a timeshare, I just think it's all a bad idea. It's just invest in something that you can afford. There's no benefit to buying into something, a fraction of something, when you have to pay additional fees, when you have to rely on the platform itself being trustworthy, when you have to rely on the group making a good financial decision of when to sell, etc. I think it's just all extra headache for no reason. Say you wanted to invest 10 grand into this, whatever items we were going to put it into, just go buy those items. Hopefully they weren't Dink Doink or Crypto Zoo or whatever, because those also would have kind of resulted. This is kind of like a slow burn. Those were kind of like an instant, oopsie doopsie, all your money is gone. Kenny Powers, there has to be a date. It's been longer than advertised at the time of sale. Avic says, Kenny, the platform has existed since the spring. We have implemented a ton of changes since then. When we first launched, voting didn't even exist. No, there's a lot of things that didn't exist, and there's a lot of rules that just get bent and, skewed however you want them to. And that's kind of the issue. The UI was completely different. We are making big changes to the platform constantly, but the timeline of 1 to 3 weeks between when you come back onto I don't know if this is the 1 to 2 weeks between when you come back onto Discord isn't that long. Everything takes time, and we are always making changes. I mean, it should all be scheduled out pretty clearly. Like, it's kind of embarrassing that Golden hasn't provided you, like, somebody that's selling through Golden on a regular basis probably has a pretty good idea of how long it's going to take to get paid out. And when you have something like this dollar value, I'm sure you can get an estimate from them and update when the item is actually paid for. Yeah, you would think that would be all part of this program, that you can let everyone know everything's going fine, everything is going to according to plan. Kenny Powers, I'm not trying to sound rude. These are questions that have an answer, in my opinion. I've never left. I've been checking in consistently. Havoc says, I don't know how long it takes Golden to send us the funds. It depends on when the buyer pays, when Golden confirms, and then when Golden wires it to us, which also takes time. This is a first-time process for all of us, and we unfortunately have to wait until Golden can send us the money before we give it to co-owners. So, like, can you not check in with Golden? You can't check on the status of this very expensive item that you sold through them? Avic says, the tokens are ERC20 tokens, but we have explained that transactions occur off the blockchain. Otherwise, you would pay gas fees every time you bought or sold tokens on offerings on our marketplace. So if it's not on the blockchain and you're selling it as on the blockchain, but there's a downfall to it being on the blockchain, is there any point in even having it crypto related other than the fact that you can buzzword the shit out of it? Probably not. It probably shouldn't even be a thing. I guess this is to make it seem more reputable than it probably is. But yeah. Kenny says, exactly. So they aren't recorded and we don't have ownership of those tokens individually. Rather, one liquid marketplace wallet holds all the tokens / ownership. Avic Liquid Marketplace says, we also have another Discord live on Friday, Kenny. I think it'd be a good idea if you were able to come and ask these questions to Ryan, as he will be better able to answer you in more detail about everything relating to blockchain, Golden, etc. What is the X? Anyway, I don't want to try to spread doubt anything at all. I sincerely hope it does well. But I'm done. Kenny says, terrible times for me, and I'm not interested in hearing the same vague answers over and over again. Anyway, well, we're going to see that in the interview. It's just a scripted same answer from Ryan on almost everything. He's got a couple new little scripts, little lines that he spouts. Nothing has been adhered to that was spoke about in my eyes. No confidence in anything that will be said anyway. Avic says, remember, Kenny, that we aren't a crypto company. We are bound to not just contracts, but also laws. The ownership is real. We can't disappear, make more tokens, etc. This is a real organization. So it's weird because they seem to be, they like give out tokens, but they're not making more tokens. Kenny says, thanks for the work you put in, Avic. Thanks, Kenny, and I'm sorry that you feel this way about everything. I know that we're also working on this payout process with Golden because it directly affects everyone here, including and especially the team and Ryan. Making sure this process works is our #1 priority for a lot of us. It's not just a job, but it's something we believe in strongly and care about, especially for Ryan and etc., as it is their company. So you don't want to name the other people that own the company. Bringing this concerns up is beneficial for us, especially when they're asked during the Q&A. If people can't attend, I can also share them, but we do encourage everyone to try and come if they can. Is that you guys that hold the liquidmarketplace.crypto domain? I'm not going to lie, I was going to buy it. Unrelated. Well, since there is no economic advantage, I guess at least we should have more exact dates, at least since there is no economic advantage. Honestly, golden partnership is crap. It doesn't give us any value, at least as far as we can see. Willing to see real partnerships. Some super big mega smiley face. This man hit it right on the head. The Buster ad is just stupid. Guy looks like he went 6 rounds with his girlfriend and decided to take a breather by recording an ad. Every original user is leaving or wants to leave. There's 4 guys that actually are still passionate about the platform, which would be Henry, Tonito, Chalk, and Broad. I'm thankful I don't have a ton of funds tied up, around 5k USD, including my asset. I was hoping to do 2 one-day list. Wow. It is sad since it's not their fault. LMP team has done it so good in my honest opinion. Remember, we are in bear market. I mean, are they? Doesn't look all that professional to me. I see more of the macroeconomic situation affecting here. Aside from Logan Paul's reputation, I think the best marketing is a satisfied customer that tells his people, and the reality is that half of the OGs are telling their people how to hop in on the suing process to Logan Paul. So sad, since it was that 100,000% not a fault of the rest of the founders and LMP aim and message. This is the most legit platform probably. That last little part there doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but maybe you guys can decipher it. Yeah, my mind registered the 0.03 when seeing the 0.3. I picked up 1,200 worth of Pika 8 at 0.03, and I still managed to lose $600 on that purchase short term. So they must have purchased, I'm assuming they must have purchased some at full price. And then they bought some later when it was cheaper, and they still lost $600. Even better in person. Ryan, thanks again for being a pioneer with this platform. Super happy to see people rewarded for being here earlier on. And like I said before, in years time or less, we'll all be laughing at times Punk Box and Pika 8 were sub 3 cents. So, man, I don't know how, I feel like maybe a little bit of delusion going on here. With the way the markets are right now, with everything so low, we're at such a fruitful place to great position to build. We will be laughing about these times of Punk Box and Pika 8 sub 0.03. All right, so the Pika 8, for whatever reason, also on the website doesn't say that it was sold. It still looks like you can trade it. I don't know if it prevents you from doing so. I will never put any of my money into this to find out. But it still looks like it gives you the option to buy. And here are the top 10 owners. So we got Karn, the original owner. I think having the original owner own the majority of the item is kind of a problem in itself, because that kind of gives it, in my opinion, gives it that kind of rug pull ability. Where if the initial owner can, or they can just decide what to do with the thing to begin with, which kind of defeats the purpose of fractional shares, especially if it's in such a way that you change whether they need 80% or not, or they can just basically just prevent everyone else from doing what they want to do with it, whether it's in their best interest to do so or not. And again, the people on the inside get to see all the happenings, what's going on. We can buy it now. There's a little submit thing at the bottom there. So the AMA that was brought up in that conversation, let's touch on that before we get into the podcast thing that LMP Ryan was on, and we'll listen through that, and I'll kind of give a little bit of commentary on it. There's 8,700 users on the platform. But there were only 9 people in attendance for the live AMA on Friday, October 14th. How does that happen? So, and that is somehow less than the 13 people who attended their trivia night, which is pretty wild to think. In terms of the live AMA, Ryan, the CEO slash co-founder, etc., didn't even bother to attend. Avid claimed he was in a dev call and would answer when done, then claimed he would respond on the weekend to people's questions. He never did, and people are upset about it, and I can't really blame them for it. So let's listen to this CEO Uncovered podcast here. And I gotta say, a lot of the answers sound exactly like what he had ready to tell me, and that's probably for good reason. He just has certain lines memorized. It sounds like he added a few to that repertoire, but we'll take a listen.
Welcome to CEO Uncovered, a place where you'll find the stories of proven entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Ashley Henschel. Welcome to CEO Uncovered. Today joining me is Ryan Bahadouri, CEO of Liquid Marketplace. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for coming on. For those who don't know, who is Ryan? Can you just give us a background about who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. So I'm the CEO of Liquid Marketplace. I co-founded this business alongside Logan Paul and my partner, Nick Dell. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I've had multiple businesses varying in different sectors. I've had a commercial real estate development business. I had a smaller construction business at one point. And now with Liquid Marketplace, we're on the cusp of going public in a completely new sector that I had no experience in other than my own interests. I was really ingrained in the crypto community. I'd been involved in a number of projects as an investor or an advisor over the past few years. My heart and soul really is in crypto and in advancing technologies as well as collectibles. So Liquid Marketplace kind of collides my two interests into one business.
What would you say started your passion for entrepreneurship and business?
I think it was really the freedom and the flexibility to do what I want and not really have to answer to anyone.
But don't you have to answer to all the users of Liquid Marketplace now?
Being able to express yourself in a way that you can't at a 9-to-5 job really motivated me and pushed me to always want to start my own thing, to always want to, work on my own schedule, not having to answer to anyone and being able to be as creative and as free as I'd like really motivates me in the morning.
Where did you guys get the idea for Liquid Marketplace and how did you go about starting a company?
So I've been an avid collector my whole life. Started off when I was younger with Pogs. I don't know if you remember Pogs, but it was like these little plastic discs that you throw on the ground. Very, very crazy game. But Pogs, Crazy Bones was another one I was really big into. And then that grew into Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, sports cards. And now in my adult life, I'm a watch collector. So, I mean, I've really been a passionate collector my entire life. And what kind of motivated this idea is at the time, about 2 years ago.
So the same story that he told me.
$150,000. And I shared it with a friend of mine.
Ready.
And he said, Ryan, you're crazy. How could you spend 150 grand on a piece of cardboard? Like, what's wrong with you? And so I explained to him, I said, listen, this asset, there's only 10 of them in the world. It's incredibly scarce. There's a market of 200 million people worldwide that consider themselves avid collectors in the card industry. I started sharing him different numbers, different metrics. I went through auction houses and how many billions of dollars that they generated year over year. He was blown away. He's a numbers guy. He's like, wow, this is incredible. I had no idea the collectibles market was so large. I said, yes, it's crazy. It's going to continue growing. That asset now is worth.
It didn't. It grew. It spiked and it grew too hard, and now it's retracing.
450,000, the one that I bought for 150. Wow. So it's grown substantially. And so after that, he said, Ryan, if there was a way for me to put $1,000 into this card with you, and then when you sold it, I'd get my money back in respect to what I put in, I'd be on board with something like that. Immediately, light bulb kind of goes off in my head. And I said, well, why can't we design a platform that gives people an opportunity to put $100, $500, $1,000, even $1 in these virtually unobtainable assets, really level the playing
Those sites already exist.
field, and open up the world of co-ownership to everyone. And so that was the inspiration behind Liquid Marketplace, giving people a fair opportunity to own these high valued assets.
So time out. The whole guise of this entire thing, in my opinion, is under the fact that like, oh, you can't afford the most expensive stuff, and that's where you have to invest your money. But you don't, especially in collectibles. There's a wide range of stuff. It's not always the most expensive item, and definitely not when you're paying record prices for it, that's going to give you the best return. There's a lot of things that you could have put money into, and you would have lost a whole lot less money than stuff like fractional shares of these Illustrator cards for record prices that weren't even real record prices. They were partial trades, and I kind of made up values that were kind of surprising that anyone would pay it, and spouted as, well, it's just somebody that has too much money and is going to buy it for that much. But who's going to buy it after that?
That they don't have access to, that they don't have the capital for. And that can be expanded into any category of asset. It can be expanded into real estate. It can be expanded into fine art, like a Picasso painting. You could put $10,000 and be a co-owner of a Picasso painting. It can be a wide variety of assets. So that was kind of the motivational driver behind the idea.
It's an amazing idea. And nobody's doing the same model?
And so there are a few competitors in the space, but they have a lot of friction points. The way they've structured their business kind of puts a lot of red tape around their hands in terms of what they're allowed to do. Regulatory and reporting obligations are much stricter with some of our competitors.
Wait, so your benefit is the fact that there's less regulations around what you're doing? That's a benefit to your customers. Please explain.
There are a lot of things that we're doing differently in terms of making it less difficult for us, making it less difficult for the consumer to operate and use our platform. But basically, we reinvented an idea that's already out there from some of our other competitors.
Also, it's not easier to use the platform. People are struggling to get their money out. People are struggling to verify to take their money out and everything else. I don't think the platform's any easier to use. That's not where it is. You guys have kind of said that yourselves, that the platform still needs a lot of work. I don't know if it's necessarily easier. It might be complicating things a little bit when you don't have actual dollar values that you're buying into, when you have that little crypto kind of trade-off where it's on the blockchain, it's not on the blockchain, but you're paying in, you're getting tokens instead of just dollar value. I feel like that doesn't make it any easier to do any of this stuff.
That have been in the space for the past 2 or 3 years, but we've already grown past most of our competitors. And I think it's because of how quick and how easy our platform is to use.
So most of the things, just so our students are listening and can know, that are on the platform are cards, or what are the types of things that can be on there?
So right now, currently, while the platform is in beta, we're redesigning the platform. We've had a ton of feedback and points of data that we can work off of to really fine tune and sharpen our product. We've garnered about 87,000 users to date. We've been launched for about 5 months. So in that 5-month period, we've had a ton of feedback. We have a ton of data that we're working off of.
87,000 users, but we have, as mentioned, 9 people that attend your AMAs.
And we're going to be redesigning the platform to house a lot more assets. But currently, under this beta, available are high-end rookie cards of some really up-and-coming athletes. We have NFTs on there, like Bored Apes, Mutant Apes, CryptoPunks, stuff like that. I mean, these assets are not obtainable to an everyday person. They're $200,000, $100,000 with a lot of upside potential and a lot of nostalgia and a lot of excitement around them, a lot of media relevance. But how does a student with maybe $500 take advantage of a CryptoPunk? You know, they don't.
They shouldn't. A student with $500 should not be investing into something like this. In my opinion, I'm not a financial advisor, but if I was, I would tell them, do not put your $500 into something that's not proven, into something that's promoted by people that have rug pulled multiple times. It's just there's no way you advise someone to do that. That, like, the biggest selling feature that they keep promoting about how the people with not enough money should put their money into this is I don't understand how they're trying to push that as like the benefit. The people that shouldn't be putting their money into it shouldn't be putting their money necessarily into anything. If you're a student with only $500, you probably shouldn't be investing in anything other than making sure that you finish being a student. Maybe put it towards bills, put it towards whatever you need to do to succeed in school. Not Liquid Marketplace tokens.
But now on Liquid Marketplace, you can come on, put that $500 into that CryptoPunk, be a co-owner, and collectively, all the owners of that CryptoPunk decide when they want to sell it, when they want to buy it, if they want to accept a buyout offer.
So if you're a student and you put your $500 into it, and say something comes up, it's an emergency of some kind, you need to spend your $500, or you need to sell whatever you bought for $500 that you were investing in, which again, if you only have $500 in your pocket, you probably shouldn't be investing it. And then what? Then they have to wait for everyone to collectively want to sell the item. It makes no sense. Like how can anyone listen to this pitch and think it makes any sense?
It's all done through a democratized voting page, and that voting page is accessed by all the co-owners. So it's a really seamless way for people to own assets and decide when they want to sell it. But yeah, currently right now, sports memorabilia, cards.
That sounds like the opposite of seamless. It's very seamed. It's got seams all over it. It's like if you cut jeans up into 1,000 pieces and you sewed them all together.
And NFTs. But we're going to be introducing art. We have some Basquiat's, we have some Banksys, we have a Picasso that we're looking to list. And then eventually within the next few years, we'll be listing real estate.
So eventually when they want to sell, everyone has to come
Is it going to be timeshares?
to a mutual decision.
So yes and no. If co-owners want to sell the asset to one specific person or to send it to an auction, yes, they have to vote. 80% have to agree to sell, and then it gets sold. But let's say 80% say no, we don't want to sell. But 20% say yes, we'd like to sell. Those 20% can sell whenever they'd like in the secondary market. It's a peer-to-peer exchange where co-owners can sell their ownership to each other whenever they'd like. So you don't have...
I don't know. It sounds like it's Liquid Marketplace, but it doesn't sound very liquid when, in order to get out without the permission of usually the person that sold the item to begin with, you got to sell tokens that went from 10 cents typically to 3 cents. I don't know what the average drop is, but I don't know. I think I kind of hope that it's at the point that people have kind of seen what's going on here. But you never know.
Have to just wait for an auction. You don't have to just wait for a buyout. You can sell 24/7 whenever you'd like to another user on the platform via that peer-to-peer marketplace.
What do you think are the biggest misconceptions when it comes to crypto and blockchain?
I definitely think there's a trust factor there. I think a lot of people have been burned over the past few years.
Here it is.
With a lot of these Ponzi schemes, with a lot of these pump.
Whoa. Is he bringing up Ponzi schemes and pump and dumps? When I did that in our conversation, he threatened to hang up the call. Also, I noticed that for this call on this CEO Uncovered, you're not at a gas station or in the car or whatever you were when you were talking to me. Is there some preferential treatment going on here?
And dumps. Liquid Marketplace, I'll state right off the bat, does not own any assets. We don't own any owners.
So they do own assets because everyone that's involved with the company, CEOs, whoever, co-owners, everyone listed on the website that has a position, or whether it's a made-up position or not, are the ones that were listing the items. So in a sense, they love to say that the fact that Liquid Marketplace doesn't own the items, but the people that own or are involved with or have positions at Liquid Marketplace own the items.
In any of the assets. We don't care if you buy it or not. This is really just an opportunity for you to take advantage of. Yeah. And we don't have our own crypto coin. So we don't.
So, So they do care if you buy it or not because they personally own the items. He doesn't say that here. He says that Liquid Marketplace doesn't own the items. Now, where they're consigning things, are there going to be more people outside of those and people that are directly involved with the ownership of the company that are listing items? Sure. Also, they own tokens. Everyone that's listed on there owns tokens. Usually they own tokens for the items that they actually put on there. It's kind of like, oh no, don't worry, Liquid Marketplace doesn't own the items. Just the people that own Liquid Marketplace own the items that they put on there. But then they don't totally own it because they fractionalized it, but they still own the majority of it.
don't have a currency. We don't have a coin that you can go and trade. You know, we're following regulations. We're doing things the right way. But I think that's the number one thing that's really hurt people over the past few years is a lot of the bad actors in the crypto space.
Yeah.
So I think because of those bad actors and a lack of understanding of
Like
what this
the Logan
technology
stuff?
can unlock, it really makes for a difficult learning experience. For example, Liquid Marketplace, essentially a tokenization platform. We utilize crypto technology to bring users a new experience, bring users a new product. We're not a crypto project. We're not a crypto platform. We're simply a platform that utilizes this technology to give people access.
Yeah.
How else do you give people around the world an opportunity?
So if like the trading on site is not done with the crypto stuff, it's just done with the on site currency. Like it seems like the crypto part doesn't necessarily even need to be there.
To purchase one single asset, if not for the blockchain. You know, that asset is now stored on the blockchain. Those tokens are created representing 100% ownership of that asset. And then people all around the world buy those tokens based on that specific asset, and their ownership is recorded on blockchain. You know, we're not a crypto business, but we're utilizing a technology that's available. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to grow, and definitely an educational curve, but we're going to get there.
Yeah, I think it's a brilliant idea. I do think, like you said, the educational curve, I don't know if you know, only a handful of states teach financial literacy, and that's kind of where we come in and why we want to do this, because of this new technology and new crypto world that we're coming into. It needs to be taught, and people are missing out.
Here's the thing, you know, I think teaching it is being done the wrong way. I don't think students and people need to understand what blockchain is.
Yeah.
I don't think people need a defined, you know, definition of what this is. Or
And you don't need to know what the blockchain is. You don't need to know about crypto because this is just using crypto for buzz. Essentially, it's just fractional shares. It might as well be in USD, but we're gonna call it on the blockchain because it's hype doggy.
what it's made up of, it's going to lose a lot of people. People are going to lose interest. People are not going to understand it. I think people just need very high level notes. Blockchain allows you to store your information freely and accessible for anyone to view, including yourself. So for example, if your medical records were stored on the blockchain, you wouldn't have to go from a doctor to another doctor and get this doctor to send and fax over all your information to that doctor. You can access your own information on the blockchain, grab it, and give it to whoever you want. It's just about accessibility. That's the whole thing about blockchain. You don't need to understand what it's made up of. You don't need to understand, you know, how these miners work. I barely understand that stuff. You just need to understand the underlying benefits.
The CEO of a company that's pumping the fact that it's on the blockchain for fractional shares of things, and your understanding is limited.
And it's to provide access. And that's exactly what Liquid Marketplace does. And that's exactly what other legitimate crypto companies do, is they're trying to make people.
It doesn't provide access, though. It seems like everyone is struggling to get their money off the platform. Everyone's like, all the decisions seem to be a whole lot slower. I mean, they're going to be slower regardless of how good the platform is than just having your own asset and making those decisions and being able to act on them immediately. If you wanted to sell something with Golden, if you wanted to sell something smaller on eBay, which they seem to be doing now, they seem to be selling on eBay through that like pretend consignment company that had like 800 feedback or something. What? This is all stuff that you can do yourself with something that's less expensive and to have far less risk involved. This is just adding risk, in my opinion.
People's experience more seamless and provide them access that they didn't have before.
What made you want to partner with Logan?
So I've known him for a number of years. I met him through the community, the collectible community, the Pokemon community specifically. We weren't friends by any means, but I had his ear, and I definitely had his confidence in terms of, you know, I could bring a business model to him and have a 10, 15-minute conversation with him. So that's exactly what I did. I brought in the business model. I explained it to him. He was ecstatic. He loved what we were doing. What made me want to bring Logan Paul on board? Well, let's be honest. His pull in the community is immense. Mm-hmm. He has an incredible following of users that love him. You know, yes, getting a celebrity involved is always a bit risky because they're so heavily under the scrutiny.
Yeah, but he has a community that like has been let down by the previous crypto projects. And you're going to say, oh, it's not a crypto project. Then why does it have anything to do with crypto? It's the same thing. You're going to get criticism. People are going to bring up the fact that the other things exist. You're not going to want to talk about it, but I guess you just have to hope that people don't look into videos like this, that don't look into the videos that I made previously, that don't look into previous projects, previous failed projects. If it's a new space, if it gets into more trading cards and the previous projects were crypto and NFTs, as long as the project is not exactly identical, then you can just put it off as though this is a completely different thing. Don't worry about those other projects.
Of the public eye, but to me that risk was worth it. It would take us 10 to 15 years in order to market this business to 25 million people. With Logan Paul, we're able to do it in one day. You know, that risk.
9 people in the AMA, guys. 9 people. 8,700 users. 9 people in the live AMA. If that isn't a sign that people have already jumped ship, I don't know what is.
Reward was worth it to me.
I completely agree. I think
like
it's
an alarm
really
going on.
gotten out there, and
Maybe he is in the car.
I've seen the Pokemon all over his page, and that's where I kind of drew to the company. So I think it's a brilliant idea. Where do you see the company going, let's say in 5-10 years?
So yeah, you know, publicly traded, 1 million users, real estate. I think our platform really is going to be that key place where people come and invest and co-own real estate together. And think about it, real estate, especially in New York, you know, you're living there, you understand.
Oh, yeah.
I can't afford a house in even Toronto, let alone New York City. I can't do it. But now imagine giving a student, an 18-year-old student, an opportunity to put, you know, $2,000 or $5,000 into a commercial real estate property, which generates revenue month over month and pays them a dividend. Now they're going to earn revenue month over month off of that real estate because it generates revenue and they're an owner of that building month over month. Like, the opportunity there is crazy. It's almost a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you want to get involved?
I completely agree. I've never heard of anyone doing that, and I think it's going to really be receptive to a lot of different people.
I think so. I think it really just comes down to the marketing. We really need to show people how easy it is. We need to create more partnerships, you know, be on more podcasts like this. Get people comfortable with the idea of liquid marketplace, educate them, show them that there's immense value here to be unlocked.
Mm-hmm. Going back to you, what does a day-to-day look like for you?
Very busy. I wake up, you know, 5:30 in the morning. I prepare for my day. I usually start the day with, you know, some light reading. I read maybe an hour or two. Currently, right now, I'm reading this book, The Magic of Thinking Big. Fantastic book by David Schwartz. It really takes principles that I believe and that I've run with my whole life. The power of positive thinking. You know, thoughts are things. Imagining and believing in yourself.
It's hard to think positive when you
achieve whatever you put your mind to.
70% losses.
Really drives me every single day. A quote that I live by.
My apologies about the story.
Whatever the mind
That's
can
from the
conceive and
podcast.
believe, it can achieve. And that was said by Napoleon Hill. So I start my
Cops
day
are coming.
off with a book. Like I said, I'm reading this one. I have, you know, a tea in the morning. I'll have a bowl of berries. By 8 a.m., I'm typically in the office 8:30. Today I was a little bit late. I had a call in the morning. But typically I'm in the office 8:30. And I'm on calls back to back. You know, every single day I'm getting liquid marketplace out there. I'm speaking to investors. I'm speaking to VCs. I'm speaking to banks. I'm speaking to partners in the space. I'm speaking with people like eBay, people like, you know, a wide variety.
He wasn't speaking to people on the
really
Ask Me Anything.
The
9 people that showed up for it.
My job is to network the business, to educate people on the business. And I have a full day. I work until the evening, and then, you know, weekends I do the same thing. Weekends I'm in meetings. It takes a lot of work. You want to be an entrepreneur and you want to succeed. You have to put 100% of your soul, of your body, of your mind into your business if you want it to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
But 50%, you're only going to receive 50%. If you want 100% reward, you need to put 100% of your time in grind.
I couldn't agree more. What is?
If you only want 30% of your money, put it into a PSA 8 Illustrator.
Been the biggest
fractional shares of it
challenge in your career thus far, and how have you overcame it?
I think my biggest challenge and the biggest hurdle, and this is where I'd really push, you know, your students to really take my words as advice. Stay in school. I 100% recommend all of you get an education, you know, go to university, get that degree, because I was not fortunate enough
be a
to
student
have one.
and invest.
And because I did not pursue higher education or pursue school outside of high school, that really limited me in ways of how I could have conversations. I felt like I had to really prove myself. I felt like I had to work even harder to get where I had to be. Get in school, it's a good opportunity. You get your foot in the door a lot easier. That was probably my biggest hurdle, was getting my foot in the door when I had no education. People didn't want to take me seriously. People didn't want to speak with me. People didn't think that I had what it took. Stay in school, prove to people that you have what it takes, get yourself that degree, and then go out and do what you want. Do not find comfort or fall into the comfort of having a university degree, working that 9-to-5 structured life. You still need to take risks. School really limits you in one way, where it keeps you on this one path of structure. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to make sure you always step out of that comfort zone. But definitely, to get your foot in the door, I would say pursue higher education, because it does limit you in terms of your connections.
What are some basic skills, in your opinion, that are important for new entrepreneurs or CEOs to have in order to be successful?
Basic skills. I think being able to speak with people. I think being able to relate with people. Being very personable.
Memorizing a few
You need to
lines.
take a real interest in what people are saying, what people are talking about. If you're just trying to remember what you read in a textbook, or you're trying to, make things unorganic and just make them hear what you think they want to hear, it's not going to go anywhere. You need to take a real...
Whoa. Hear what we want to hear. I feel like he's always saying things that we want to hear.
interest in what the person you're meeting with is saying. You need to take a real interest in their background. You need to take a real interest in who they are as a human being. This is the only way you'll be able to connect with people. This is the only way you'll be able to network successfully. You can't make it fake. You have to make it 100% real. You have to really want to know who that person is. I need to know who Ashley is when I speak to her, because I need to have an understanding so I can connect and have as genuine and as honest a conversation as possible. If it's not as genuine as it can be, you're not going to make it anywhere. So I think definitely communication is the biggest skill, and that will really lead to the growth of your business.
Lastly, I always ask this: if you could give a piece of advice to a college or high school version of yourself, what would you tell him?
A piece of advice based on my experience?
Yes.
Association. Make sure the friends that you keep around you motivate you to do good things. And I know that sounds like something your father would say or some old man would say. I'm 31 years old. I'm not much older than you guys. Yeah. And what I've learned is you need to make sure you associate with people that motivate you. You have to make sure your friends are good. When you surround yourself with millionaires and billionaires, you will be a millionaire and a billionaire yourself. You surround yourself with criminals. You surround yourself with bad people. You surround yourself with people that, want to do bad things or hurt people.
Wait. How did we go from how did you end up putting Logan Paul on the project to surround yourself with the people that aren't bad, that haven't hurt people, that haven't done projects that are exactly like what you don't want, you're letting on that you don't want to create?
Nothing positive is going to come out of that relationship. Forget about business or any of this other stuff that I could tell you. Bad association, it genuinely does spoil useful habits. Be careful who you hang out with. Always be cognizant and aware of who you keep around you, because you show me 5 of your friends and I'll show you who you are.
I love that. Well, thank you, Ryan, so much for being on.
Contradicts entirely.
I love learning about liquid market.
All right, that's enough of that. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Let's see what else we got here. This is in regards, we'll call it here after this one. This is in regards to the PSA 10 Pikachu. Hogan says, so with the Pikachu Illustrator auction being over, how does that affect the tokens that we bought? You will be paid back for 0.038 per token. If that's the case, then what would mean those of us who bought at 0.10 at the beginning when I dropped just lost most of our investment? The market for this card has changed, says Avic. Even the PSA 10 first edition base set Charizard has dropped from 420k to 160k over the same time frame. I put a couple thousand also, but I did vote for it to auction knowing the markets had shifted. Okay. All right. Now, if we take a look into the 99 Originals Discord, we have the Crypto Era YT saying, I'm in contact already with some huge people in European law and crime enforcement, Europol, etc. A year ago, they would be scared of going after people like this. Now they're putting a napkin in their neck and grabbing a fork and knife. Alleged scammer celebs are permafunked and auto-banned from the space. I have my child waiting for my plan. If I am not able to talk to Logan Paul was taken team. A bunch of international newspapers and TVs waiting on my call. She will go out and talk publicly. She knows both English and especially I will be there with her. So it seems like there's some upset people. I don't know how much this is talk versus not. But Appy07Z says humor, actions speak louder than words. So question mark. Tim Bauer says, once again in the 99 originals section, it's cool how much is allowed to say here, though there were hundreds of people banned from originals Discord for mentioning CryptoZoo. I guess, okay, so this is the channel, the sub channel 99 originals within the actual Liquid Marketplace Discord, it seems. So we have Tim Bauer says, it's cool how much is allowed to say here, though there were hundreds of people banned from originals Discord for mentioning CryptoZoo. I also was for the first time ever 2 weeks ago, just 2 days ago, many just for implying CryptoZoo or just saying hi to the same community manager as in CryptoZoo. It does not seem like a good idea to try to silence thousands of people who once brought in several $1 million. It's estimated that around 10 to 20 million were taken out of CryptoZoo. That was Logan with minimal marketing, just some tweets and one impulsive mention, but it was his first big project, and now his other projects can't get anywhere near the same numbers because so many got scammed. So I don't know if you're forgetting Dink Doink before that, but I think you might be. It wasn't clear it was a scam until 2 weeks ago when Dev said they quit since they didn't get paid, and his manager now running this hasn't said a word for more than 2 months. So is this a trend? Is it gonna happen to the other ones? Is it gonna happen to Liquid Marketplace? I don't know. And that's the thing too, like if people are trying to get their money out and they can't, or it's being delayed or being pushed off, or like it looks a whole lot of, it looks bad. Now it was officially a scam, slow rug pull, the worst kind. They acted like they had plans for years to come, but it looks they were only saying that to make the originals launch smoother, because they already milked the first people. Like way more than 50% of people in Liquid Marketplace at the start were from CryptoZoo, just a low estimate, sorry. And similar with OGs from originals, it just doesn't make sense to do that. It's just sad. Wonder if Logan actually read any of what was said here, since he got tagged so many times. He definitely didn't elsewhere, because the whole team have everything on mute. Logan could have gotten so much more out of CryptoZoo, and then especially from originals and LMP, since he would have had so many more people with 50k, 100k investments. Like I talked to like 20 to 30 people with 100k in CryptoZoo till now, and with one guy with 10 mil net worth privately, who also invested like 500k there. He also landed Logan his first ETH, LOL, and made the Prime commercial. All right, guys, that's it for now. We'll have to keep an eye on it. I'll make sure to provide any updates on what's going on here, but it's looking pretty grim. It's looking not so good. Let me know what you guys think down below. Kind of saw a lot of this coming, but unfortunately others did not. Thanks for tuning in. Join the Discord. See you guys next time. Bye.